Do you think you could be a grader? We're here at SGC's headquarters where Cameron and I are about to do a grading battle with a huge prize. You ready?
Let's get it.
All right, Peter, so what are we doing here today?
So Geoff, we actually decided that it would be a very cool and kind of educational idea to set you guys up in kind of the first ever grading battle. We're going to assign each of you 5 cards. You're going to grade these cards and basically, I guess you'd say, estimate, predict what our team would assign these cards had they really been submitted for grading. From there, we're going to kind of play a little game. And the way that this game's going to work is you will assign a grade to each card. We're then going to send those cards through the actual SGC grading process. Our professional graders are going to evaluate those cards, and we are then going to basically see exactly how far off your predicted grade is from the real official SGC grade. The scoring will work as follows. Basically, if you give a card a 10, that card comes back a 9, you're off by a full point, so you get 1 point added to your score. The lowest score wins, and the winner gets $5,000 cash.
All right. You ready for this, Cameron?
You know, I'm going to let you in on a little secret, Geoff. This morning I had a big bowl full of unbridled confidence for breakfast.
Gosh.
So
oh, boy.
I'm ready to take you down.
All right, so here's the first card. So this is that famous LeBron 2012 first Prism card. Beautiful pose of him on this card. The centering on this one looks really sharp to me. I don't even have to use a ruler because I can look at the little dots on the edges and see that this card is actually really sharply centered. I think all aspects of this one look real sharp to me, except I do see a small print line there. That's the only defect that I'm noticing in this card, Peter. I'm going to give this card a 9.5.
Okay.
Now let's look at this Travis Kelce. So this is the refractor. So you see a lot of that shininess appear in the card. Now this is wild. There's actually, it looks like maybe like a print dot on the card next to his nose, but it only shows under the black light. The centering looks pretty solid to me. I'm going to give the Travis Kelce a 9.
Okay.
So this Duke Snyder card, obviously we're going back to a totally different era, 1956. So overall, the image on the card's really nice. The surface looks pretty clean. The centering's off a bit, but I do really think that that fraying on the edges is a real problem. The corners look decent. This one down here is kind of soft. The centering on the back appears off left to right. All right, Peter, I'm going to assign this card a grade of a 4.
Okay.
All right, so here we've got the 1975 George Brett rookie card. This one has obviously some serious corner issues. That's really, really obvious when you look at the card. The corners are in bad shape. Other than that, the card looks pretty decent to me. The centering is a little bit off left to right, but not significantly. I'm not catching any surface wrinkles in the light. I am catching a little bit of a surface issue up there, though, a little bit of a dot. Now the centering on the back, though, is pretty far off. But the centering on the front's pretty good.
And think of it this way. Do you think that the back centering should weigh as heavy on our scale as the front?
No. I think you should probably give more leeway to the back.
I would say so, too.
I'm going to grade this one pretty low. I think I'm down around a 3 on this. All right, now finally I got my tobacco card, 1910. I've never, ever graded a card from this era before. The image is shifted towards the right.
Yep.
The card looks pretty good overall, really. I mean, there's a couple of specks on the surface, but they're all very, very minor. The corners are definitely soft, but I mean, for a card that old, you know, what do you expect? I'm somewhere between a 4 and a 5 on this one, Peter. You know what? I'm going to split the difference. I'm going to do 4.5.
Okay.
How about that?
Wow.
All right, Cameron, let's see what you got.
All right, guys, let's see if I can beat Geoff here. I got to turn on my halogen lamp, and we're starting with the Jamar Chase. Right off the bat, I say that the left to right centering is almost perfect. I do see there is some slight, like almost a print dot right in the middle. All right, so I'm checking the back here, and I actually see a dot on the card that is not coming off. I would probably give this, I want to say an 8.5. Now moving on to the 2018 Trae Young rookie card. First thing I'm looking for is that famed print line straight down the center of the card, but I'm not seeing it here. Top to bottom, little bit off. There is a little bit of a surface line on his right shoulder there. At the risk of grading it way too quick, I'm gonna say this gets a 9.5. And then we get into some vintage, like this Hank Aaron. Oof, I absolutely love this card. So the centering is a little bit to the left and a little bit down. What comes out to me right away are the stains on the card. So top right surface, you got a stain, bottom right on the back surface stains. If you bend it in the light just a little bit, right over by the tops 20, you see there's a slight mark in the card. I think I'm gonna give this, and it may be a strong grade actually for it, but I think I'm gonna give it a 4.
Okay.
All right, moving on to the next card, we got a Mini Minoso. Got a lot of fraying on the bottom edges, just issues on the image, maybe some white spots around his hat and the top of his head. And with the black light, I do see a little bit of discoloration in the bottom left white border of the card. I'm probably gonna say a 3 on this one. And moving on to the last card, I have to say the eye appeal on this is absolutely brilliant. The colors are vibrant. The frame is really nice. There is a little bit of a scratch on the card. I see some surface damage, but corner damage a little bit on all the corners. I feel like I can't give it less than a 3 because of the centering is so brilliant and it just pops. I'm gonna give it a 5.
I have a surprise for you. A bonus round.
Oh, jeez.
Oh boy.
These cards are going to be worth double.
Old Judge. Oh, no.
Oh boy.
Oh, we're going way back in time. Is this from the 1800s?
1800s.
It is.
Oh,
Holy
no.
smokes.
It is.
There's quite a big wrinkle on the back of my card, so that's going to take the grade way down. It is on the back instead of the front, but I see a wrinkle all the way down the back of the card. I see a little bit of spotting there, discoloration. The front of the card's really nice. Other than that, I mean, the front's quite nice. That wrinkle, though, I think that this is actually probably a really well-conditioned card for a card that is that old, besides for the wrinkle. I'm going to grade this one as a 2.5.
Okay.
Cameron, what you got?
I have a crease on mine as well, but it is not down the entire card. And some staining on the back. I think I'm gonna match your grade here. I'm gonna say 2.5.
Okay. We've got all of our grades in, Peter. So now it's time for your graders to actually do the work.
Guys, I wish you good luck. I guess just like SGC's turnaround time, we should be seeing these cards pretty
very
soon.
quick.
All right, the grades are back. Are you ready, Cameron?
I'm ready, I'm excited.
And this is a treat, guys. We have 2 of the senior-most graders here at SGC, Scott and Doug, a combined 35 years of experience here at SGC, and they're going to reveal the grades and walk us through why they got the grades they did so that we can determine our winner. You ready?
The question is, are you?
Oh, I'm ready. All right, gentlemen, hand us the boxes. Here we go.
Oof.
And Cameron, I'm going to let you reveal your grades first.
You're gonna defer to the second half?
Your turn. Let's go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's tuxedo time. First card is a Jamar Chase. I said it was gonna be an A5. Let's see what I got. A 10. So talk me through this.
So this is a really nice card. It's got extremely nice centering, which is definitely tough to find in this year's issue. It does have some very minor imperfections, like the dot you talked about. We did see another very small light white surface dot on the front. You're going to see small issues like this on a lot of these sets, especially some of these chromium sets. Mm-hmm. It's pretty common to them. And that's the difference between a Gem 10 and a pristine 10. That's what that grade's there for. So, when we see a card like this that's this nice, even if it has just a few very minor imperfections, we feel strongly as though we contend it, especially when it presents as well as a card like this.
Next card was a Trey Young. I gave it a 9.5. Let's see what it came back as. A 9.5. I got it right. Here we go. Come on now, let's go.
Nice job.
Oh man, absolutely beautiful. I got it right, so I don't know if I have any questions for you. It makes sense.
Yeah, I mean this one really just had it's basically a gem card that's just off center.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's really just a little low and just a hair to the left. So
next card was the Hank Aaron. I gave it a 4. They gave it a 6. It's a little bit off of what I said it was. I think I gave it really harsh on the edges, but just walk me through your idea of how this got a 6.
yeah, so the edges are actually pretty standard for this set. This is essentially what you want to look for on a card like this. The reason we gave this a 6 instead of a grade higher essentially is the centering. It's just a little bit off, very slight corner wear. And then this also has some, wax or gum stains that you'll see on the back. For something like this to get a 4, you typically would see things like creases or severe centering issues, things like that.
Let's see, next card I had the Mini Minoso. I said that that was a 3. Let's see what it got. Got a 7. Okay. Is this pretty much the same idea as the Hank Aaron there? As why this guy?
Yeah.
Was a 7?
So I'm assuming you were probably looking at the chipping on the edges, top and bottom, or I should say the rough cut top and bottom.
Pretty rough on the edges.
Yeah.
Of this
So
one, yeah.
so this set in particular, as well as some other sets from the 50s, will typically will have a rough cut edge top and bottom. So it's got the cut I want to see. Overall, it's a nice card. The reason it didn't grade higher really is the centering. It's centered fairly low, and it's got some minor snow basically in his hat and on his face. So those are kind of the detractors on this card, but it presents really well overall. It's a really beautiful card for this set.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's move on to the next one, the T206 Griffith. I gave it a 5, and that's actually a pretty high grade for a T206. Let's see what you guys gave it. A 6. I was not far off on that. Yep. I'm actually happy about that. Just a beautiful card in general.
This is a really well-centered card. It appears very nice for the issue. You got great bold colors. The reasons this card did not grade higher would have been basically just some light corner wear. There is some minor surface erosion. But it's something that you really just have to, you won't see in every light, which is why part of grading is catching cards in the right angle. So that's something you'll see us doing. If you caught us grading, you'll see us often moving the card around quite a bit.
Awesome. So the last card was double points. Okay, so if I'm wrong on this, it's really bad. I gave the Tim Keefe a 2.5. You're going to see what it actually is. A 4. Okay. You just don't see this type of card every day. An 1889 Old Judge Tim Keefe in an SGC4. What are your thoughts on this set?
When you see this card, the whole surface is just really clean as can be, with a pretty decent image on it too. Overall, it presents really well. So some of the things that we look at on this card that we detracted for really was there is a small wrinkle on the back at the top, which you can see right there. As well, there is some chipping that you can see at the top edge on the back, as well as a little bit on the top edge on the front. It also, which is very common for the issue, it does have somewhat of an unusual cut. Ideally, these cards come cut rectangular, in a perfect rectangle, but this issue is extremely common. You'll find them with rather unusual cuts, which in some other issues, may be considered miscut, but for this issue, in most cases, they are gradable. But overall, you have a really nice surface, not too much damage to it, over to the overall card, so qualifies definitely for a 4. A nice card, and I would say, for a first time at grading an Old Judge, I'd say you did a pretty good job.
Cameron gave me some space to work with, but if I'm wildly off on any of them, especially that last one, since that's double points, then I could quickly catch up with him. So let's see here. All right, so the first card was the LeBron James 2012 Prism. I gave it a 9.5, and Scott, you gave it a 9.5. There we go. Okay.
Nailed it.
Nailed that one.
Yes,
All
you
right.
did.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. To me, it looked like it was well centered. I saw a little bit of a print line above the shoulder, a little bit on the edge. Is that the same reason why you bumped it down a half grade?
Basically, I looked at this card. Centering is perfect. The surface was generally perfect. There's one small print line, which Geoff, you correctly identified right here, and that lowered me to a 9.5 on it.
Okay. All right. I feel good. This is a good start. All right. The second card was the Travis Kelce rookie card refractor. I gave it a 9, and Scott SGC gave it an 8.5. Okay. So you graded this one a little more tough than I did. I had seen, a little bit of a print dot there and there. Talk to me about the 8.5 grade on that one.
Okay. Not too far off on it. The reason I went 8.5 on it, we're at basically 9 centering on this card. The print imperfection that you mentioned on his face, just because of the location, I knocked it down a half a grade because of that.
Okay. All right. Because it was noticeable, because it was right on his face.
If it's kind of like down here in the background, you won't notice it as much. But with this, being that it's right on his face, I looked at it as a location thing. It stood out to me a little more than your average print dot because it was right there and very noticeable for me.
That is fascinating. I didn't know that that would make an impact in grading. It completely makes sense because it affects the eye appeal of the card tremendously.
Exactly.
Now we're getting into some of the cards that I could be a little more off on. These are tougher to grade. We've got that 1956 Topps Duke Snyder card. I gave it a 4, and oh wow, I was way off on this one. An 8.
Yes, sir.
Wow, I was way off on this. Okay. Wow, Cameron's got a shot. I really hammered this card because of the fraying along the bottom edge. There was a lot of fraying. Other elements of the card look pretty good, right? The surface was pretty solid. The centering's pretty good, especially for a 56 Topps card.
We like to see that because that's the natural cut of the card. And basically what I saw on this card was a card that had perfect registration, no print imperfections. Main hang up on the card that kept it from even going higher for me was the bottom left corner here.
Yeah, so the element of it that I actually thought was going to be the big grade detractor is something that very naturally comes with those cards and something that you were happy to see and didn't detract for, and that explains a massive grade difference between how I would have graded it and how you graded it.
Absolutely, and that's an easy adjustment then once you see that and you become familiar with it when we're training people in grading. It's not unusual what you did with that card, Geoff, because that's what we see a lot when we first start out with people when they see the card for the first time.
Okay, all right, well, I'm learning my lessons today for sure. All right, so this next one was George Brett's rookie card. I gave it a 3. Scott, you and SGC gave it a 4.5. So I was a little bit off on this one. I was harsh on this card because of the corner issues with it. That's the main reason why I took it down. But there are other elements of the card that are really nice. So maybe I took it down a little too much just on the corners.
Yeah, you hit the card for the corners. The card's perfectly centered. Nice color and registration. No imperfections on the back. A little off center, but that's okay for the grade. And just the corners are mangled. That's it. So
yeah,
we would go down on that to a 4 or 5 for that.
Okay. Yeah, what I've learned so far is that I have underestimated eye appeal. It makes a difference. The colors, the vibrancy, the quality of the image, it makes a difference. I was grading very technically based on corners. I should have probably taken in the overall card a little bit more in terms of my grading. So, okay, so I was off by 1.5 points on that. I've got 2 cards left to go. This is close between Cameron and I. This next card is the McGraw, the Tobacco McGraw card. I gave it a 4.5. You gave it a 5. Okay, so that one I was really, really close on.
What you have here is, again, no creases on this particular card. Relatively decent centering for a T206. But to me, what stands out is the picture quality, and it basically got the 5 for the corners. The overall image of this card is clear. You don't have print, and you also don't have creasing. And the back and the reverse of the card is clean as well. So for a T206, a very nice example.
All right, so now it's time for the last card, and this card is doubled. So what this means is that I've got to be within 2 grade points or less to win. 2.5 and I tie. If I'm more than 2.5 grade points off, Cameron wins the competition. This is the old Judge card. I gave it a 2.5. Scott, you and SGC gave it a 3. Okay, all right. I do know how to grade a card from 1889, apparently. I didn't know that I knew that, but I do. And the reason why I gave this a 2.5, the most noticeable element to me was that giant wrinkle kind of down the back of the card. Is that why it got down there?
Yes, Geoff, you're correct with that. On the back, from top to bottom, you have a crease that runs all the way down the card. But I'm going to walk you through my reasoning of why I went to a 3 with it. On the front, you have basically a 5 image, and that's a key. With an old Judge card such as this, the collector really wants the image. The picture quality on these vary so much. And for this is very clean. Oftentimes you'll have a faded image on there, or also the color will be different. And then some of them cards will be like actually pink rather than this tone. And this is what you want. The image on this is perfect. And the reason, like you said, the back, but the front is, to me, is spectacular.
Scott, that was awesome. I learned a lot. And Doug, I learned a lot from you too. Really appreciate it. Cameron, you were a good competitor, man.
It was really close.
That was a lot of fun. Big C7 cards right here. Now all I need is my money. To the victor goes the spoils, right? Where's my cash? Where's
Jeff,
Peter? Hey, Peter.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Peter.
Great job today. I wanted to tell you, we got together as a team, and we know you guys are headed over to the first ever Palm Beach Card Show taking place right in SGC's backyard.
Yeah, we are.
Well, we had an idea. We will give you this cash.
Okay.
But with this cash, we want you spending this money on SGC graded cards on the show floor, and we want you gifting those cards completely free of charge to kids, to set builders, to T206 collectors, to modern collectors, everyone there that you feel is just making a positive impact on the hobby that we've been serving for so long and the hobby that means so much to us. So I want you to have a great show, Jeff, and I want you to help so many others have an awesome show.
I appreciate that, Peter. That is an awesome idea. We're going to go to the Palm Beach Card Show, and we're going to take this money and make a lot of people happy. You want to roll with me?
Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's go.